Yes, Mrs. Puff really looked like that. No joke. But yeah. Alright, everybody, let's just get this review started. Alright, hello everyone. I am 22 Tiger Dude to give you my review for the season 8 episodes of SpongeBob. They are Demolition Doofus and Face Freeze, which aired along with Extreme Spots and Squirrel Record, which are the season 9 episodes. These are still season 8 episodes though. And as you can see behind me is the poster of SpongeBob and Patrick. Whenever I do reviews of SpongeBob, from now on, I want to try doing reviews with the SpongeBob poster as my background. And yeah, me wearing my cap as well. If I do not use this as a background, because my brother is here, then that's why I won't use it as a background. So yeah. But anyways, let's get into the review. Alright, so let's start off with Demolition Doofus. As you can see from the beginning of the review, Mrs. Puff is not puffed at all. Her inflation popped and just, she can't puff anymore. But I'm going to get to that. Alright, so, of course, it's another SpongeBob Creates a Disaster episode. So, SpongeBob drives Mrs. Puff, and he pops her. She loses her inflation. She ends up in the hospital. Mrs. Puff is so angry at SpongeBob for losing it, and darn was she angry at him. Like, shoot, you need to watch how angry she was with SpongeBob in this episode. But anyways, she was so sick of SpongeBob and didn't want him in her life at all, no part of it anymore, that she signed up SpongeBob to the Demolition Derby so SpongeBob could die. I'm not lying. Mrs. Puff literally wanted SpongeBob to die. And I don't know, people. I just can't believe it. What ruined this episode for me was Mrs. Puff. Mrs. Puff literally wanted SpongeBob killed. And with SpongeBob, of course he lives, survives through it, he uh, he survives through it, but Mrs. Puff is angry about it. And she'll say things like, "Why are you still alive?" Like all psychotic, like, oh my gosh. Okay, I know in the past, SpongeBob, Disaster, his misfits, his mischief, yeah, that. I know he's gotten her in prison, and I know he popped her, and she has a reason to be angry, but to the point where she wants to murder SpongeBob, I just, that bugged me a lot at people. It was big time out of character for Mrs. Puff, and after watching this episode, I lost full on 100% respect for Mrs. Puff. And she angered me so much that I wanted to really lower my score rating for this episode. But then I was thinking to myself and saying it wouldn't be fair to give the episode a very low score because one major thing bugs you so much. So don't worry, people. I'm gonna still give this episode a good rating. It just won't get a 10 out of 10 for me. That's all I can say. It does not get a 10. Not even close. But it's still good. Anyways, what makes me not giving this episode a lower score was that there were some funny moments. I laughed. I, my favorite part of the episode is definitely the demolition derby scene, and the second half of the episode that cracked me up. I just couldn't stop laughing at that. That was my favorite scene, and that one was where it had the most comedic moments in there. And it's just very cool too. The scene, like with the demolition derby scene, it was just so freaking awesome. I just loved it, just just brilliant. So yeah, I love the storyline, love the demolition derby, and it would have gotten a 10 out of 10 if Mrs. Puff wasn't. Oh my gosh, she just angered me big time. Everyone, that's all I could say. So, but I will give Demolition Doofus a 8 out of 10. Plus, the ending itself, it just didn't do it for me. The ending where Mrs. Puff gets on a big, huge monster truck and was literally chasing after SpongeBob and going psychotic and laughing all maniac, I just didn't do it for me. I'm sorry, I just had to do this episode. But once again, 8 out of 10, and I'm sticking with that. Hey, you guys! Now I'm gonna do my SpongeBob review for Face Freeze, and yes, it has gotten darker. Um, I had like 5 interruptions in a row trying to do this Face Freeze review, and I just got so tired that I needed to calm down, relax. So yeah, now that I'm done with all that, I can get back to my Face Freeze review with hopefully no interruptions. Okay, so let me do this before I do get interrupted again. Alright, so Face Freeze. Um, it's about when SpongeBob and Patrick, they make a funny face, but Mr. Krabs tells them a fake story about how a fish was making funny faces and he got a face freeze and he could never go back to normal ever again. And then after SpongeBob and Patrick were horrified by Mr. Krabs' fake face freeze story, they decide not to make funny faces ever again. But of course, SpongeBob and Patrick, they get away. They get carried away with it, and they couldn't help themselves. So they're just being silly, dumb, and just freaky with the funny faces. So yeah. Now let me point out too, my dear YouTube friends. All right, from what I am hearing, some people hate this episode. Others love this episode. I am actually one of the people that did love this episode. For those of you that do hate this episode, though, I do respect your opinion. But honestly, the reason I really love this episode was because the randomness that, just went on in this episode. I just, I just loved how random and creative the writers were going. And plus, the idea of a face freeze, you don't see that on television. That's something that you've never seen on television before. So it's good to see that the writers made a awesome, random, yet hilarious storyline that television has never used before. So I liked how they really went all out. And yes, the randomness in here is what you call over the top, but it was hilarious as hell. And I honestly cracked up from start to finish. Very funny. Loved the humor. Loved how random it was. And the episode itself, it is quite disturbing. And I'm not lying when I say that. It really is quite disturbing. But I love the storyline. I I cracked up at all of the funny faces that SpongeBob and Patrick were making. They were just so random. And those pictures you saw to start off the face review, yeah, you saw how freaky those pictures were. So this, I just cracked up from the beginning to the middle to the end. It was hilarious. Sandy's appearance was funny as well. Especially that scene where SpongeBob and Patrick, they were doing their silly face acting goofy and scary everyone away from Goo Lagoon, and then Sandy comes up to them and says, "You two need help." That cracked me up right there. I just cracked up at a lot of moments. I just really enjoyed this episode. And yes, I thought it was better than Demolition Doofus. But yeah, I really love this episode. I can't say if I recommend it since some people apparently hate this episode, but If you're one of those people that do love random things, you do like quite disturbing things, whether it's a cartoon or a TV show, then this episode is definitely for you. If you want to see full on extreme random things, then watch this episode. I promise you, I am not lying when I say this is the most trippiest, weirdest, freakiest, extremely extremely crazy and quite disturbing episode of SpongeBob SquarePants that I've ever seen. It definitely tops all the other episodes of the past from the most freakiest and random episode of all time. The ending had me laughing as well. So what can I say? I really love this episode, and I give Space Freeze a 10 out of 10. So thank you everyone. Please subscribe to me as 22 Tiger Dude if you enjoyed this review, and goodbye.